way to move the vise back and forth rather quickly. It's just a screwdriver, and I've got several attachments. One is for the square shank. The other one is for my lathe. If I want to change the jaws on my lathe, I can use this, and that's really a labor saver. When the saw blade breaks and you don't have a replacement, you have to order one, and it's pretty difficult to remember what is the exact length of that blade. So what I do is I always write the length of the blade on the machine somewhere in big red letters. For instance, this one takes a 64 1/2 inch blade, and that way I can reorder it without and get the right one. There's a bandsaw that essentially has a 93 1/2 inch blade, and I can essentially not have to worry about the length when I reorder it. One of the problems with using drill bits on a machine that's remote from the place where you store the bits is you tend not to put the bits back. You lay them down, they may get thrown in the garbage, they may get covered up by something else. And so one of the ways to solve that is to make a swing-out drill case with an articulating arm on the machine. And this one has all three types of drill bits, numbers, letters, and fractional. That way when you use the drill and you're done with it, you're going to put it right away, and that way you'll have all your drills and you won't have to go hunting for them. This particular one works on the drill press, and since we use a lot of drills on the lathe, here's another drill case, and it also doubles that I can use it with the mill. And when I want to get it out of the way, it just swings back into the back. On my mill, there's lots of attachments. There's lights, and there's DRO, and there's the motor drives on 3 axes. And a lot of times I go to bed and I forget to shut it off, and I get up and oh gee, I got to go in there and shut it off. So what I did is I decided to put a 12-hour timer. It's a crank-up timer, and I'm never in here more than 12 hours. And so even if I forget to shut off the power, I go to bed, I don't even have to worry about it. I've got the same thing on my lathe, and on the grinders also have timers, because the grinders have lights, and you generally leave the lights on. And what this does is crank, 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 and 12 hours later, it just shuts everything off. One of the problems with a hydraulic press is you may be pressing something, and after you press through, what happens is if you're not holding onto the tool, which you generally don't want to because you don't want your hand up here, the punch will fall, and it may not be a punch, it may be a broach or a very expensive tool. So one of the nice things to have is a garbage can laid on it upside down with some, you can just throw paper towels in there or peanuts or some plastic peanuts, so that your tool gets caught here and doesn't hit the cement and get damaged.